Well, Robin, thanks for popping by today. This is everybody. This is Robin Wopat, and she has been a fire girl since 2020.
20, yes, 2020, fall of 20.
Okay. And Robin and I both live in Pensacola, Florida. And Robin, tell us a little bit about what you do now, because that's kind of relevant to what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so now I work for our area's certified domestic violence center, Favor House, and I am an outreach counselor, and I do primary prevention. I'm a primary prevention specialist, meaning I go to schools, community events, speak about domestic violence and ways to recognize it and prevent it, help prevent it.
So good. Okay. So tell me, when did you join the Meaning of Midlife Academy and why?
I joined the Academy in January of 2021, after I had begun meeting with you a couple months prior, and I was just feeling stuck. I had come through a lot of trauma and had gotten past that, but now what? And I just didn't know how to move forward from that. So that was my goal when I first started.
Yeah. And so what was it like for you being in the academy? What did you find when you got there?
Well, it's interesting because I had been in therapy for many years, and I thought I had learned everything I could possibly learn about myself. Not I began to learn things about myself that I had no idea. And most important to me is I began to learn why I was stuck, why I couldn't move forward. So that was the best part of the academy to me.
Yeah. And what were you feeling the most stuck with in general?
Just how to live my life like I wanted to live it, but I didn't know how. And I had come out of abuse, and so now I'm free. I'm past that. I'm in a healthy relationship. I've got dreams that I want to accomplish, but I just didn't have the courage to step out and do the steps that I needed to make these dreams happen. I just didn't think I had it in me. I had to learn the stories I was telling myself that were keeping me stuck.
Right. And so when you came to us, you had a good job, but you had you just knew like there was just more, right? That's probably a fair way of saying that. And so tell me a little bit about that. How did you get from point A with that job to this one that you're in now? And what's that like for you?
Okay. Probably about a year after doing the midlife, Meaning of Midlife Academy, actually less than a year, probably about 6 or 8 months, I made a decision to leave the job that I was in, which I had done that type of work for my whole life, 30 something years, and pursue a career in domestic violence field. I had no idea what that was going to look like. And like I said, the things that I learned about myself in the Midlife Academy helped me have the courage to even make that decision. And I made the decision, and then about 6, 8 months after that, I left my job of 10 years and took a position at Favor House, Domestic Violence Center.
And why is that so important to you?
Because of my experience that I have had with domestic violence, being born into it, married into it, and have been out of it now for 13 years, I want to pass on to other people what I have learned, and mostly prevent other people from experiencing the depths of it, to get out early. And then when they get out, how to live an abundant life after getting out of an abusive relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That sounds fun. So, um, this job obviously is not just a job for you. This is a passion.
No, it is. It is a
Yeah.
passion.
Uh-huh. So
Okay.
what was the best part for you about the academy, or what was really powerful for you in the academy? What'd you learn?
It was the things that I learned about myself were so powerful. The stories that I had been telling myself that kept me stuck, that I wasn't good enough, I didn't have what it took, didn't have the courage. What would everyone think? How can I think I can do this? I learned to rewrite those stories, and that I did have what it takes, and I do have the qualifications, and I am the right person. And this is part of my journey that I'm called to do.
So, Robin, so I know for sure that a lot of what was helpful for you was building the courage, rewriting new stories, just believing something different about yourself, that you were capable. But there was another component that was really important to you in finding community in the Meaning of Midlife Academy. Can you tell me about that?
Right. The connections that I made with the other women in the academy were a surprise to me. First of all, I didn't have any idea that I would connect with the other women, being in different areas of the country and on Zoom. But we did. We had a connection that I just don't think would ever be broken, because we shared our heart and soul with each other, and we really felt each other's struggles, and we celebrated together. And and then we get to see each other in person at a retreat. It was just phenomenal, as if we'd known each other for years and years, and it had only been months.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to watch that from my end.
Mhm.
That was a kind of an unexpected benefit of the academy. Like we didn't really entirely see that coming, but that's definitely what's happening, is that people are connecting with other women in ways that maybe they didn't even think was possible. So that's been really cool. Um, Bouncing back to your job just for a second, like me and the other members of the academy were watching you go through the process of deciding that you were good enough and capable enough to let go of your safe job that you were ready to leave and like fly for the vine, to get into this job that is absolutely your skill set, absolutely your calling. You are giving back out of this great pain that you went through, you learned, and now you're alchemizing it into something else. So what was that process like for you of letting go of that one vine and swinging to grab another one?
Well, I will say that I held tight to the vine that I knew for a while. It was very hard to let go and swing to the new vine. But it was the encouragement that I constantly received from other ladies in the group, that had seen me on this journey, and they saw in me something that I couldn't see in myself. And a lot of the time, I just believed what they believed. And that was
Okay.
that gave me the strength and the courage to let go of that old vine and move forward. I had someone else telling me, I can do this. You're perfect for this. And without that encouragement, I don't know that I would have ever let go of that old vine. This dream may have just been something percolating for a long time.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. What would you say is most different about you now versus maybe before were in the academy?
oh, wow. A lot of things. I believe in myself, for one. Um, I believe that I do have what it takes. And the old stories, they seem like old stories. They seem like another person. It's not something that I run through my head on a daily basis anymore. The new stories are what's familiar to me now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is everything perfect now? Like done and dusted? Like,
No, I'd love to say it is. And you are a miracle worker, but it just is not not the case. But now I can look back and I can see how far I've come, and that gives me strength when I get in a situation where I feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I can accomplish this. I know that I can do this. And I just pull out some tools in my toolbox and I ask myself, what are you telling yourself? What's the story here? What are you afraid of? And I just go through the whole process that we went through so many times in the academy, and it works.
Yeah.
It constantly works. And and then I've experienced some hard days, in my new position and just life and since my new position, and I'm okay. And I didn't die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's kind of the way life is, right? New level, new devil. So tell me something. I know that the painting on the wall, the poppies on the wall behind means something to you. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, I love my poppies. In the academy, you talk about being the tall poppy and not being afraid to be the tall poppy, because someone is always going to come along and chop off the tall poppy. Yeah. But tall poppy is the strongest. It has the deepest roots. It's
the most sunlight.
It gets the most sunlight.
Yeah.
Stands all the others. And I was always afraid to be that person, especially coming from a background of abuse. I was told that that was bad, to be a bright light, to be a beautiful flower, cut down, chop down. And I realize now I don't have to be afraid to be the tall poppy. So I accidentally had these at my home, stored away. And I had always loved them, but I never knew the story of the tall poppy prior to buying these. And when I decorated my new office, I was just going through things I had at home and thought, oh, wow, I love these. I'm going to take them. And then I realized those are poppies.
Mm-hmm.
So I now get to share with my clients and refer to these pictures about not being afraid to be the tall poppy.
Exactly. So, Robin, tell me, what would you say to somebody that is on the fence with joining the Meaning Midlife or booking a breakthrough call with us because they have the "will it work for me?" question mark in their head? What would you say to someone like that?
I would say that if you have been thinking about something to help you move forward, this is it. Mm-hmm. It's an investment, but I will tell you it is well worth the investment. Looking back, the financial part seems so minimal now to what it did when I first thought that was a hurdle. It is well worth it. I would have never accomplished the dream of being on a stage, speaking publicly about my experience with domestic violence and helping prevent it had I not gone through the academy. I don't know that I would have ever even spoken that dream out loud to anyone, much less now living it. So it's worth it.
Yeah. That's so fun. Robin and I had lunch last week and she's like, yeah, I got to talk to this high school. And then I'm going to speak to that high school, whatever. And I was like, do you remember one of our first calls? We were like, well, I don't know, maybe someday I might like to, maybe, I don't know, I probably can't do it, but speak in front of people about my experience with domestic violence. And I don't know, but I probably can't do it. Now she's just like, that's just Thursday now. Oh, it's super good.
Yeah. I think about the fear I had just even telling anyone that, it's amazing.
Yeah. And last question, you've also come to our retreats. You've been to a couple of them. What do you find when you go to Firegirl retreats? Curious.
Oh, I don't want to go home. I don't want to leave that bubble that I'm in. It's a connection with other women like no other. They are safe. They are caring. They are fun. We laugh and so much, but we cry. and we cry real tears for each other. And sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're celebratory, happy tears. But it's just a connection with other women that, and the details of the retreat is every single thing is taken care of. The food is fabulous. The time together, your sessions, I mean, it's just everything is thought of, every little detail is taken care of. And if we need something, we know exactly who to ask to get it. And it's you're definitely in an environment to thrive for that time.
Yeah, beautiful. I can't wait. We happen to have one coming up in June in France.
Yes. I won't that one, but
yeah, it's going to be so great. I'm super excited. Well, any last thoughts, Robin? Anything I didn't ask that I should have that you want to share?
I wanted to touch on the fact that you are trauma informed, and that is very valuable. Coming from a background of trauma, and you understand and you see your clients through that lens, and that is extremely helpful, because not everyone does. Not every life coach, not every counselor understands that as well as you do. So that was extremely helpful to me.
Right. And legitimately, how could we ignore that piece of your puzzle?
Right.
There's no way. There's no
Right.
way that we could say, okay, we're going to take you forward, but never mind about all the abuse and the domestic violence and the things. Let's just skip that. And so, like, we're not going to dwell there, but we got to know how you got there and give you tools to help regulate your nervous system and befriend those parts of you that are still afraid and still running your life according to the rules they made when they were 5. And
Right.
so you are a great example of that when I would challenge you on things, I think that you were able to recognize, like, okay, what of this is, thinking that needs to be adjusted, and how much of this is like inner child that needs nurturing. And you've really managed that very well, which is such an important piece of the puzzle for getting unstuck and going forward and finding things in your life that feel meaningful and purposeful to you, which you have definitely done. You're like, look at you, in this amazing role now. So yeah.
Yeah. And when you ask what was different, that's one of the biggest things is the little 5-year-old Robin is not running my life anymore.
Amazing. That's amazing. She just gets to go outside and play and just be a 5-year-old while adult Robin is running the show and helping other people live bigger, fuller, healthier, safer lives. Yeah, which feels like a huge triumph. So anyway, Robin, thanks for coming on and talking to us today about your experience in the academy, your experience with the retreats. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thanks for having me. I love you, Erin.
Mwah. I'll see you later.